Hey, everybody. What I want to talk about is I just want to really straighten out some things when it comes to imbalance or the lack of balance. Because people tend to not be able to see that there are always two sides to imbalance. That's what imbalance is. Balance is always in the middle. Okay. And this is the problem when it comes to the as above, so below, good and evil, giving and receiving. There's always two sides. If you're on either side, you're always imbalanced. Okay. Balance is in the middle. Okay, so I noticed that a lot of times spiritual people, their imbalance is in the 5D, and their imbalance is also, they're also a lot of times imbalanced in the giving. Because this is the thing, we are spiritual beings here in a physical reality. We are here for this reality, okay? So when we want to avoid this reality, we want to avoid, we're negating the experience that we really came here for. We're negating everything that this experience of life has to offer us, okay? So this is the reason that I don't see anything as one way or the other, okay? When we get too much into the area of this black or white, left or right, this is the programming of this society, okay? This is the programming that, so many people are aware of, and they're like, oh, you hear a lot of people talk about programming, but then they'll run programs and they don't understand that they're running programs. The programs are always on one side or another. Okay. So you're Democrat or you're Republican, you're black or you're white. It's always one side or the other. This is where the programming is. Okay. It's always in the duality. Okay. So you run programs. There are also programs for giving and receiving. Now, the underlying basis of programs and why these programs were created is for control. Okay. When you have people polarized to one side or the other, if you have an awareness that they don't have, if you have the awareness of the gap that they don't have, you can control those people. Okay. So here's the thing. When it comes to imbalance, as it pertains to self-worth, okay, that goes both ways. Your self-worth is not determined by anything that you do or don't do. See, to have true self-worth, you just inherently know your worth. See, you know what you are. You know who and what you really are. And so you know the worth and value of your essence and your being. That's it. Okay, so it's imbalanced. This is the way the imbalance works when it comes to self-worth. Okay, why people will be under illusions that they have self-worth when they still don't have any. It is because they will polarize to one side or the other. Okay, and what it looks like when people polarize, everybody knows that polarizing. See, it's a funny thing that goes on in this world, where when it comes to the polarizing, there's always one side of the polarity or one side of the imbalance that the people put a double polarity on. Okay. So it's like there's this polarity in one area, and then on top of there already being an imbalance or a polarity, there's another polarity. Well, that polarity is good and this polarity is bad. So we have double polarity and double duality. So we have this thing where giving is the good imbalance. So there we have that double duality. Giving is the good imbalance and receiving is the bad imbalance. So on top of the fact that we have the duality of giving and receiving, we also have the duality of good and bad on top of that. So we're running double programs when it comes to that. Okay. But how this all relates to self-worth is that in your self-worth, you're not gauging your self-worth on strictly what you're giving and you're receiving. There is a balance with it. Okay? So when you're polarized, when you think that your self-worth comes from what you receive, then guess what? A person like that is going to be a huge taker. Okay? And they're going to feel like they have self-worth because of everything they can take. This is imbalanced. Because if you really believed in your own worth, you wouldn't even feel the need to take to that degree, to take in excess. Okay? Balance never calls for excess. Now, when you believe that your self-worth comes from what you give, you're imbalanced in the opposite direction, okay? You're on the other polarity. Okay, the one that's judged as good, so it's a little more acceptable to be imbalanced in that way. But when you're gaining your self-worth by what you give, you are actually valuing yourself still outside of yourself. See, both polarities are determining your worth outside of you. Okay? You're not valuable just because you are. You don't have inherent self-worth. Your worth is based on something outside of you. It's based on what you give. It's based on what you're receiving. See, you're receiving all this from these people, so you must be valuable. Okay? People are paying you this, so you must be valuable. Or you're giving this, so you must be valuable. And the thing is, neither one of them determine value. This is just something that happens when people don't have a solid inherent self-worth, and so they have to do something. They need something outside of themselves that helps them to see what their value truly is. When people are polarized to the giving duality, then what they don't realize is sometimes they have so little self-worth that they don't even feel that they're supposed to receive at all. Okay? They're not supposed to receive at all. But if they have a little bit of self-worth, they will believe that they're supposed to just give more than they receive. And here's the thing about that. At the end of the day, if you're polarized to either side of that coin, okay, there is a lack of complete harmony that's going to be there within you, because you're going to be looking for some type of sign outside of yourself. Some of the neediest people you have ever met are so-called the most selfless. But if they were truly selfless in the way that they thought, they wouldn't even be needy. These are the people that need so much on the back end. These are the people that they'll be so selfless and they give so much, but they are more in need than anybody else. How can we say that that's balanced? How can we say that that's balanced? The person who we admire that imbalance, and that's just another part of the duality, the good and bad, the right and wrong. It's good to be that way. It's wrong to be the other way. It's bad to be the other way, when you're supposed to be a balance of both. Okay? I give a lot. And what I give in terms of what it does for other people and, the evolution of other people and healing for their souls, if I valued myself based on my self-worth or my value on what I gave, I see myself as just immensely valuable, just based off that. If I receive quite a bit. If I valued myself on how much money I made, or how quickly I made money, or all of these other ways that I received, then I think I was valuable based on that. The things that I've acquired monetarily or things like that. But see, for me, neither one of those determine my value. Without either one, I know my value. It's just inherent. So what I require in terms of my self-worth, when I say I don't want to be talked to a certain way, it has nothing to do with anything. I haven't derived any of my self-worth from somewhere outside of me. This is something that is it doesn't make, this is another thing. I don't feel compelled to give. I don't feel compelled to receive. It's just a matter of going through life and what is necessary at the time. It's all good to me. It's good to receive. It's good to give. Sometimes there's a time to give. There's a time to receive. There's a time for everything under the sun. So what we want to do is just be in alignment with the time. And that is what is good. It's just being in alignment with the universe and the timing of things. So it's not a good thing. I'm not worth more because of what I give or because of what I receive. true self-worth is just inherent. If I gave nothing, I would still be valuable. Because see where your self-worth hinges on something outside of you. If you think that what you give has some determining factor on your value, then that means that if you weren't giving, you wouldn't be worth nothing. You wouldn't have any real value if you weren't giving. And that's a sign of a lack of the inherent self-worth and self-value. If you hinge your self-worth and your self-value on what you receive, well, if you have a hard time in your life where you're not getting a lot, okay, not a lot is being given to you, then guess what? You're not worth anything. These are illusions of self-worth and self-value. Okay, they're not accurate. This is coming from the duality and the polarity. It is imbalanced. Because the truth of the matter is, your worth would be the same no matter what. Well, even if you giving that didn't make you any more worthy. It didn't make you worth any more. It didn't increase your value one bit. What you received, it didn't make you any more valuable. It doesn't matter how big your house is, what kind of car you drive, how much money you receive, how much people shower you with attention, adoration, and affection. It didn't make you any more valuable as a being. So to know your true value and your true self-worth, you have to know yourself. And it is about your inherent worth. You were born with it. If you open your eyes in the morning, you're valuable. And that's true self-worth. Okay, so I just wanted to clear that up for the polarities and the imbalance and all the programming that so often has us, seeking our self-worth outside of ourselves and not being able to see it. We think it's balanced because we have the programming of what's good and what's bad, what's right and what's wrong, whether we're Democrat or Republican, whether we're white or black, whether we're religious or atheist, whether we, there's always a polarity in the duality. Okay, so balance is in the middle, guys. So I hope that was insightful. I hope that you found it helpful. Until next time, bye.